Hey everyone, it's Mike from Downtown Comics. I'm here with James Rossman. James, how you doing today?
Good, Mike.
Good. So we're going to talk about comics today, and it is the week of February 5th, I believe, 2025.
Yeah.
So, we're going to discuss a few comics that came out this week that we've read and our thoughts. So, why don't we get started? I always forget. DowntownComics.com is the place you can go to check out all the new releases, all the different comics and covers. And liking, sharing, and subscribing is always appreciated. We really want to get people involved. Talk to us about what maybe you liked for the week. You know, sometimes if we see something in the comments, maybe we'll pick up that issue, check it out, and maybe comment ourselves. You know, we can't read everything. So, all right. So onward. All right, James, you're first. What do we got this week?
Yeah, so up first for me is Absolute Superman number 4.
Okay, yep.
This issue was pretty cool, actually. We got the first appearance of this universe's Jimmy Olsen and General Sam Lane.
Okay.
So,
all right.
This issue is a little bit more focused on Lois Lane. She's, part of the Lazarus Corporation, and she basically is going around the world interviewing people that have, been saved or have had some sort of contact with Superman.
Okay.
To try to find him, essentially.
Okay.
And she's interviewing all these people, and it's kind of cool because at the end of issue 2 or 3, I can't remember which one, we see, and she's like, oh, well, maybe I'll start writing my own,
Right. I think that was
articles.
at the end of 2.
Was it 2?
Because I don't think I'm caught up, so I believe I've read up through 2. So,
okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so, that's pretty cool, and, but, everybody that she's interviewing, they're being very cryptic and not really giving her a lot of information because they are against the Lazarus Corp. And,
sure.
They don't trust them and whatnot. So they're not really giving out any info. But she does end up in Pakistan at one point, and that's where she comes in contact with the Omega Men, which actually they have some cool freaking costumes that they're wearing.
Okay.
They're all behind a mask. Well, at least the lady is, we don't know who she is.
Okay.
That she's what was it, Primus or something like that is what they called her. So,
all right.
But then the Peacemakers come in, and so Lois is fighting the Omega Men, and then the Peacemakers come in, make it even worse, and then towards the end we see Superman come in and smooth everything over, but he's just tossing people left and right. So
okay.
But yeah, no, and then we get to see a little bit more of his cape, I don't even know what you really want to call it, a dust cape of some sort.
Yeah, it's yes, it does seem to have it's definitely more than just a normal cape.
Yeah.
It does stuff. So
yeah.
It's a combination of what Strange and Doctor Strange and Spawn.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's a good but no, there's a little bit of mystery behind this comic a little as far as who the Omega Men are.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, I kind of feel like they're probably... I feel like it's somebody substantial, and I don't know if... I don't think... Yeah, no, I was looking kind of ahead to see if we get any more about in the solicitations, but I haven't seen anything. So, but it's kind of funny too in this issue where we see General Lane and Lois have a conversation back and forth about Superman, and she's like, "Oh, he's just some what'd she say, bumbly, hippie or something like that."
Okay.
And he's like, "Yeah, no, he's not." So, but at the end we find out the next issue is it's called The Rage of Superman.
Okay.
So, yeah, this will be interesting.
Okay, so is General Lane head of the Peacemakers then?
He's actually retired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he doesn't have legs, so that's kind of interesting.
Okay. And then does this issue actually give us any backstory about how Lois became involved in her current
not really.
Okay,
yeah.
So there's not really much in looking back. It's more just kind of going forward with her story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I really liked it.
All right.
Pretty good.
Fair enough. Okay. The Absolutes have all been good. The ones I've read. All right. We're gonna start me off with Avengers number 23. So this is part 2 of a 3-part story, and it's basically the Avengers meets Ocean's 11. So there's a heist going on. So I talked about the last issue when I read it because I really enjoyed it, and now to spoil it because if you've read that last issue, no, Black Cat isn't actually working for the Avengers. She's working with Kang. So the Avengers are there to basically stop Kang and Black Cat from stealing this data something, this MacGuffin, right? You know, your MacGuffin. And right underneath, because it's at the Grand Master's casino. Okay, so it's got the highest level of security. So even Kang, when he's in the casino, he can't do his time travel stuff.
Wow.
So Kang has like absolutely no, he's just a dude inside the casino. So he needs the Black Cat to help him. And so this kind of goes into the backstory of how he convinced the Black Cat to help him out. Okay. So that's kind of the fun part is Kang trying to recruit Black Cat and Black Cat going, why me exactly? You know, it's like, you know, so it's kind of funny there. And then we get a appearance by a group of characters that I vaguely recall from the early run of Excalibur, like literally from the late 80s, early 90s. Okay. When Alan Davis did the book. And I just remember because I remember the visuals and I remember them being on covers. So yeah, okay, it's like one of those where you bring back this group that maybe has only been in a handful of issues. Like literally the people involved when they're getting recruited, they're like, well, we fought Excalibur and I think we fought in the Fantastic Four, but I've never heard of the Avengers. You know, so it's like they'd never even been in the book or whatever. So that was fun, and they're kind of a cool little group. So anyway, yeah, so there's some good fights in there. We're still on part 2 of the heist. There's still a cliffhanger for part 3 because someone that you probably wouldn't expect is involved. Like Ocean's 11, there's a twist. There's more twists. Yeah, so yeah, but it's fun. It's a fun, like I said, I love heist stuff, and the Avengers meets Ocean's 11 is a fun concept. So, yep, actually, yeah. There you go. So yeah, it's a good read. So I think you could still pick up part 1. It's probably still on the shelf. So this is part 2.
Okay, awesome.
All right,
sweet. All right, up for me next is Justice League, the Atom Project number 2.
All right.
This issue's kind of split between two halves. It's goes back and forth between present day, where the Atoms are trying to recover powers, and then it goes back 3 to 4 between 3 to 4 weeks, and that was before Captain Atom ever got his powers in the first place. So.
Okay.
The Atoms and Nathaniel Atom together are kind of trying to find where Captain Atom's powers went, basically. Okay. So, and it's like a very unexpected place that you wouldn't really think of.
Well, let me ask you a question here because I'm not up on DC lore, but is the current Jenny Sparks just had a miniseries? Did you read that miniseries?
I did.
Okay. Captain Atom is the bad guy in that.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, and he's gone, like, cray-cray. So, I'm not sure if that it's technically part of the DC universe, but again, is that mentioned?
Yeah,
is that...
It kind of...
Does that ring any bells for this story, or are we...
Of.
Okay.
Yeah, because when, the time jump between the 3 to 4 weeks and then going, to present day, when Captain Atom has kind of lost it a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sounds like
okay. All right. I was just curious because I haven't read this, but I did read the Jenny Sparks, and so I was just wondering. Because I'm always whenever they do Authority, that Wildstorm Authority stuff and the DC universe, I'm always. Like, where does this fit? I know it's supposedly canon, but it always seems like it's off to the side a little bit. So, all right, continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good, yeah.
Yep.
This is basically about, like I said, getting, Captain Atom's powers back. But he, when we see... Well, when we see him getting his powers back, he it looks as if he has the Speed Force.
Okay.
And they're not really sure how he came in contact with that. So it's kind of interesting. He and they try to get I think Wally West, was it? I think they're trying to get him to go under the speed of sound to basically so that way they can ask him questions about how do we counter this if when we find him and whatnot.
Right.
So we get revealed that that Inferno is in this as well. So it's kind of connected with like the Justice League Unlimited series.
Okay.
So which is actually kind of interesting because I read in the solicitations for 3 and 4, I believe, of this. We're gonna find out, I believe, who Inferno is. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm actually
All
pretty excited about that.
Okay.
But it's interesting because there's some of Captain Adam's powers, like when he lost them, they, obviously disappeared, and they find out who or what these powers went to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because it's not a human being. It's just, it's an animal. I won't say what kind of animal, but when they come in contact with it, they're like,
okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So,
right.
So yeah, it's so I wouldn't say that. I'd say Adam Project is probably like one of my least right now favorite as far as like the whole like.
You're talking about like
in.
the question,
and
Challenge of the Unknown.
Yeah, because this has a lot of like, if you like a lot of like dialogue and speech bubbles, I think you'll really like it.
Okay.
But yeah, not as much action in this, but that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Well, my second one is called Power Man Timeless. So basically, in the Marvel Universe, they've been doing these one-shots for the last few years where it involves Kang, and they're kind of anthology stories where you get glimpses of stuff that's going to happen that year. So they usually release it at the end of, like, let's say the 2024 year, and it's kind of a preview of some major storylines that'll be going on throughout 2025. So they've been doing this, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, it seems like. And in one of those, they introduced a universe where Power Man has... Okay, so this universe's Power Man, he has the power of the Iron Fist. Okay. He has the power of the Hulk. And he has the power of the Sentry.
Wow.
So, yeah. And basically, he had to defend or kill all these people in order to save that universe, which was then, I think, destroyed anyway or saved, but the universe kicked him out. So basically, this story... when it starts, is set up that this version of Power Man, so he's older, obviously.
Okay.
This version of Power Man, or Luke Cage, I should say, he just enters. He's just arrived in our the core Marvel universe. So it gives you, if you didn't read the story I just referred to, his origin, it gives you little glimpses of exactly what he's got and why he's got it. But basically, this is his story. He arrives in our Marvel universe. He starts traveling through the solar system. He comes across a being who you'd think now this dude is one of the most powerful beings in the universe. So who can punch him hard? Well, immediately someone is there to punch him really hard. So it gets into this weird science fiction-y storyline. I won't say much more about it because all the concepts seem pretty much new. If they're referencing something that has been done in another Marvel comic in the past, it didn't hit me. So, and I've been reading Marvel comics a long time. Not that I've read everything. Maybe there's some Eternal stuff that was done in the 70s where maybe this was, but it seems like this is all new stuff. So, heavy sci-fi. There's a lot of punching. There'll be more punching. So, yeah, if you kind of want that, if you want some one character, big good guy, big bad guy, sci-fi kind of story, you can check this out. Art was fine. Everything was fine about it. I mean, it didn't grab me, but maybe it's just not, my particular thing. But I'll read the second one. I mean, it ends on a cliffhanger that's like, okay, I kind of want to see where this is going. So, yeah, I mean, so I enjoyed it.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
There you go.
Sweet. All right, well, our third one we both read.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
Yeah.
we both read the third one. Okay, yeah. What was it that we read?
Star Wars Legacy of Vader, the Reign of Kylo Ren.
Okay,
kind of a long title.
Yeah, so this is another one of those 10th anniversary, they're running 10th anniversary stuff for Star Wars, and I thought this was a one-shot, but of course I read it, and there's a part 2. So, yeah, Legacy of Vader. So starring Kylo Ren. So looks like this is set between episode 8 and 9.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're following along, this is a story set between the end of episode 8 and the beginning of episode 9. So, I mean, what did you think? So, I don't know how big of a Star Wars fan are you?
As far as the movies and shows, like, I love them, but actually this is, if I remember right, this is actually the first time I've ever read the Star Wars comics.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
so,
All right. Well,
yeah.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Obviously my era was more the OG stuff, but I still like it all. I'm not. I just like it all.
Yeah.
So, and Kylo Ren, he is on the fence with me on. Is he a good bad guy or a bad good guy? I don't know.
I feel like a lot of people do have like mixed feelings about him.
Yeah.
But like this issue really gets like kind of inside of Kylo Ren's like psyche almost. He's like, am I like actually good enough to become like what Darth Vader was? Like, why am I not as powerful?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the story's trying to bridge that storytelling gap from how his character was portrayed in Last Jedi, and the things that he said and did, and then how maybe his personality was slightly different at the start of episode 9.
Right. Yeah.
So because, obviously, there was some incompatibility with episodes 7, 8, and 9. They didn't flow very well due to whatever. You could have, I'm sure there's already been a million hours of discussions on the problems or the good things about. But either way, I think the story's trying to navigate that personality thing. So, at the start of the book, oh man, I mean, I don't know, sometimes he's just a whiny.
Yeah,
he's just a whiny.
Definitely. That's carried over into the comics.
Yeah. He's just a whiny. Yeah. So, he's an infuriating character, but I am interested in what he's doing, and obviously at some point he goes to Mustafar.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it starts getting interesting.
It does, because I mean, I think he kind of goes there to like, to Vader's old castle to basically kind of destroy it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting to me when, because he's the whole issue he's talking about like destroying his past.
Right.
And, like he's like, oh well, if I'm not as strong as Vader was now, then I have to destroy like what is basically left of him. So it's interesting because that character that he meets, Vance.
It's either Varney or Vanay, something like that. Yes.
And that character basically tells Kylo, like, he's like, hey, Darth Vader didn't like destroy his past. That's kind of like what fueled him, basically. Even though it was like horrific and all this and that, but he's like, no, that's what basically fueled him. So we kind of feel like we see Kylo Ren kind of battling with that now.
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's going to be an interesting storytelling because I think they are trying to do something to level out his character so that it doesn't seem as jarring from when he goes from one movie to the next. He kind of acts this way then and another way now, I think. And, it's going to try and smooth those edges so that it makes a more thorough through line. So if you are interested in that time period, especially Kylo Ren as a villain, I think this could be a very good story
I think so.
in terms of watching his progression as a character. And of course he's got a killer lightsaber. You gotta love the lightsaber. And then hopefully he'll have some people to fight and stuff too. So
there was a temper tantrum in there a little bit.
That's I mean, he is the villain you really love to hate. But for reasons of he just acts like an immature brat a lot of times. It seems like. I mean, we don't want to ruin the comic, but there's a scene with Hux. After he has a legit conversation of what the First Order is and isn't, and what. But then the next thing he says, it's like, what?
It's like, dude, you're so
like,
immature.
Just want to slap him across the face or whatever. But it'll be interesting. But there's a part 2. So I don't know how long I don't know because again I thought it was a miniseries. So we'll see. But if you're a Star Wars fan, I think you're gonna like this. And if you hate Kylo Ren, I think you can read this and hate him even more.
Oh,
Just,
Yep.
So it's
I do
it's just
agree.
fun with hating Kylo Ren, I guess. So yeah. All right. Well, that's cool. Well, we both read it. So yeah, that's it for today.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate you, and James appreciates you spending time with us. And we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye bye.